Is there a new form of Kundalini emerging? Wow, what a conversation to go into. I've been working with an energy for a few months now that is rather unexplainable, but I'm going to attempt to, as an offering, as something for you to feel into, something that you might be starting to explore in yourself or starting to feel called to, but maybe don't know exactly what it is. Oh, okay. Let me feel for how best to kind of bring us into this conversation. Okay, I'll give us some words to feel into. This is how we'll kind of start. I'll give us some words to feel into so you can sort of feel if this is even a conversation for you, right? If this it might serve you in some way or bring you some insights in some way. So we'll start there. I'll give you some things to feel into around this energy. Then we'll deepen into it, and I'll really kind of hopefully be able to speak about it in a way that almost activates the energy. So possibly a bit of an activation of this beautiful psycho-spiritual power. So we'll talk about it in that way, where hopefully it activates it, but also gives us some, maybe some understanding to it. And then at the end, let's see what we'll do at the end. I don't know. We'll do something very surprising and out of left field at the end. And I'm only saying that because I just feel like you cannot possibly fathom what's coming at the end, Sabrina. So that's our little roadmap for our journey, our adventure today. So let's start with these words to start to talk about what is potentially a new form of Kundalini. Let me start with this. If traditional Kundalini was referred to as serpent, this new form of Kundalini is sometimes seen by others as a winged creature. Dragon is primarily what individuals are observing. It's not dragon from other traditions. It's very much dragon in the form of embodied full potential. And it always makes me go into this position because that's just how I often see this particular energy. Here's the other interesting thing about it. Can sometimes reveal itself as phoenix rising. So or serpent with wings. But here's the interesting thing, where if you've explored Kundalini in certain traditions or to certain levels, you'll have experienced serpent rising in the form of just traditional serpent, snake, rising, 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 right? Reaches the pinnacle, pierces kind of into divine masculine territory. So if Kundalini's rising as divine feminine, pierces into divine masculine territory, then in that piercing, the wings happen. Here's the difference. Here's the difference, and here's what's interesting about this. Again, you just feel free. I'm kind of giving us some different things to feel into, different doorways. We don't all see things. This is just one tiny thing. I'll go into like 4 or 5 other doorways. So if this symbolism doesn't work for you, hold tight, because there's many more, and many people who are working with this energy are not seeing dragon. They're not seeing phoenix rising. They're not seeing this like evolution from serpent into winged serpent. But here's where I want to kind of close this loop of what I started. In traditional Kundalini, serpent rises, pierces into, we'll just call it divine masculine territory. To keep it simple, consciousness, like if we were to refer to as Kundalini as life force, piercing into consciousness, then the wings happen, right? That's when the wings often express themselves. But the interesting thing about this particular form of sacred energy is that right when you start working with it, it has wings. It doesn't have to make it all the way through the chakra system, or however we want to talk about this, and rise, the rise of the feminine, rising Kundalini, to pierce the veils to get the wings, it starts to rise already with wings. Just feel for that. Just feel for that, because I know for some, this is the gateway in. This is the doorway in. This is the, wow, this is really resonating with me. Okay, here's another kind of doorway in, is really feeling the call to embody and embrace both purpose, your divine mission, right? So to really embrace, embody your highest potential. Like this, it's like a calling got activated in you maybe over the last year or two, right? Where it's like, I am just even more called to serve than I have been before. And I maybe feel in this being called to serve, called to be part of new earth or new world or the change that's coming in. I'm called to, or I have this sense that in order to bring that in order to answer the call that I'm feeling, I really have to open up to my unique genius, my unique potentials, my greatest potentials, in a way that is extraordinarily true. This is more energy around this, so let me give you another one, right? That's very true. It's very aligned. It's my highest potential. It's my unique genius. It's what my blueprint is. It's like this really stepping into your unique blueprint, your highest potentials. And here's a wild thing. I told you. Did I tell you this? If not, I'm telling you now. Like, I don't want to hold back in this. I really just want to go for it, because I know that there are some people who this conversation will just really, really serve. I know for some it will be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's okay. All of it's beautiful. But I kind of just promised myself that I would come here and just really go for it. Okay, so let me come back into giving us some more things to feel into. I said I'd give us 4 or 5 doorways to feel into if this is an energy that we're called to. If we're called to mystical union, if we're called to the place that is beyond just feminine reclamation or masculine consciousness, right? If we're called to, like, well, what's next? What's after Shakti rising? What's after Kundalini rising? What now? And that can look in many different forms. It can be, I just was speaking about it in a different way, where we're called to bring both purpose, but I didn't put this part in, purpose and, let's say, passion, right? So purpose would be, if we're talking about this in terms of mystical union, purpose would be the masculine capacity, our consciousness capacity. If we're talking about this in feminine terms, it would be life force or the passion. So purpose and passion. And you can see this. You can see this in younger generations, because it's an emerging archetypal energy. It's an emerging sacred power. It's potentially the new form of Kundalini, where it's, I will not override my passion for a mission. I will not override my mission for a passion, right? It's like this coming into alignment of both, right? Both. My desires match my sense of accomplishment. My internal fire gets stoked and really comes alive when I have an alignment with the greatest potential in me. I'm not compromising, right? Can you feel that? Some of us are hitting these hard places of, we've maybe been compromising. We've been compromising in a relationship. We've been compromising in a job. We've been compromising in some other area of life. And that's maybe just a really great reflective question to feel into, just overall. You know, where do I feel like I'm compromising, or what just pinged you in this moment when I spoke that? You might even pause here and just reflect on that. But let's keep going with this energy. Okay, so I'm giving you different things to feel into. Something else that is coming along with this energy is alchemy, right? So alchemy. the alchemist, the alchemist's way, really learning alchemy, really learning the alignment that's required so that we can wield an alchemist's power. Yeah, maybe this one's resonating for you. They don't all have to ping. This is an energy that shows up in many different forms, in many different ways. It's completely unique to us, how it will wake up in you, how it will stir in you, how you will support it to continue to unfold and to continue to wake up, and for yourself to continue to embody more and more and more and more of this, essentially a sacred power that, similar to Kundalini, resides within us, but more often than not is still residing in a rather dormant state. Part of the interesting things around working with this, all right, let's maybe start to dive a little bit deeper. I think we've given enough of these kind of feels or doorways in to, if you know you're sort of curious about this, but let's just take another little step down so that we can now start to just really get into the flavor of this energy. Yeah, let me feel for what it was. Okay, here's another. Actually, I want to pop up here and just share another telltale sign. Sacred heart is another aspect of this energy. Just heart, expanding of heart. Another kind of physical sign is tailbone. So for some of us, this particular energy will start to stir in the tailbone, right? That is a very ancient place to be working, is the tailbone. So for some of us, this energy will wake up and it will start to move from the tailbone area, and it can mix in with, can almost feel ancestral. It can almost feel ancient, like ancient, primordial, but it also, strangely enough, can feel like only now are we able to access this. Only now are we able to support the waking up of this. Only now, this is something wild to feel into, only now has human consciousness expanded to a degree where this particular aspect of embodied psycho-spiritual power, which is within all of us, can arise, can wake up, can start to stir, can start to empower us. It's extraordinarily empowering. If there were words that I would bring to this energy, it would be alignment. Really calls for alignment of mind, body, soul, like all the deep parts of self, really. And when we are in alignment, it brings us into this extraordinary amount of power. Extraordinary amount of power, because my heart's not going one way, my mind is going a different way, and my soul is choosing a third way, right? This part of the gift of working in this, we'll just call it dragon energy for right now, or new Kundalini. Part of the gift of working in this dragon energy or this new Kundalini is that it really calls us to our highest good and calls all parts of us to come into alignment with our highest potentials, our greatest expression of self in this life. It's like Joseph Campbell's Follow Your Bliss on crack, right? Like, it's to an extraordinary degree. And working with this energy, it holds you to this line. It's stunning. It is so stunning and so beautiful how it really holds you, supports you, guides you, right? In this loving, stunning, glorious way of your highest self, your truest potentials, your highest self, your greatest potentials, and let's put your mind in alignment with that. Let's put your heart in alignment with that. Let's even put your sexuality in alignment with that. Let's put your blood and your bones, your tailbone, the whole of your spine, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth. Let's put all of it in alignment with that. Now, can you feel, just for a moment, all of you in alignment with your highest, greatest potential? Think about, or just feel into, the magnitude of magnetism you have. It is an enormous force that starts to wake up we can call it alchemy, right? It's a form of alchemy where you have this incredible capacity to manifest, to alchemize something, to be able to change forms from one form to another, to be able to call things in, to be able to create, right? I'm kind of using these terms, creator, creatrix, in harmony with alchemist, right? So if we were to tap into this incredible capacity to create, to me, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is what I'm experiencing in myself and I'm watching in others, is it is tapping us into creator energy, not artist, human creator like the great creator, the great becoming, the great unfolding, right? The great creator. It's us really tapping into, this is something else that this energy does, is it taps you into universal mind. So higher mind, universal mind. So it gives you, it's like plugging into these vast stores of wisdom that are way beyond what just human brain can hold. We don't have to hold it. We can just tap into it. It's fascinating. It's wild. Also, in conjunction with that, this energy taps us into life force energy, universal, like the all stores of life force energy simultaneously. So you're literally plugging into consciousness, universal mind consciousness, divine masculine, and life force, right? Life force, we could say universal love, universal connection, let's say that, universal connection, life force, the interconnectedness of the all of everything, and you plug into that simultaneously. So I feel like these are all things to feel into, possibly allow for little activations to happen. You just start talking about this energy and it could start to stir. It could very much start to stir. Okay, let me feel for anything else. Here's something that I would love to offer also, is that for some of us, when we start working in this energy, we will feel that the previous trajectory we were on with our highest expression of self, that previous trajectory, waking up to this sacred force within self, shifts our trajectory. It shifts it. And it's, to me, feels like, and what I'm witnessing and having conversations with many other individuals working in this energy, is it's like the tipping point happened. We didn't know we were going to be able to open up to this level of consciousness in humanity, but it's happened. So we're now able to open up to this level of psycho-spiritual power within our own bodies, and we're able to embody that and express that. Thus, it has shifted what we're capable of creating in this life. It has shifted our highest expression of self. It's now different because consciousness has expanded, because we've hit the tipping point. Some people are kind of referring to this, you feel into what feels true for you, as new earth, new humanity, whatever we want to call it. But working in this particular energy, that can very much shift, or can feel like a shift into a new, it's not a new chapter of life or a new book amidst our life, it's a new life. It's just a new life. Like, it feels that big, like a new life, an entirely new karmic north node, true node, destiny line, destiny potential has opened up. This is some pretty big energy to be working with. It is extraordinarily heart aligned. It is heart, 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 sacred heart opening, heart awakening, heart alignment, loving more, higher forms of love, higher levels of love, receiving more love, allowing more love to flow in interconnected ways, opening us up to, let me feel for a moment, opening us up to ways of being able to channel even more light. Some of us, we really feel as if we're light workers in this world, or we're really called to just bring in goodness, just to be a channel for grace. I sometimes call it channel for grace. And it's like that channel's widening. And this working in dragon energy, or this new form of Kundalini, whatever we want to call it, is really widening that bandwidth. It's really widening the capacity for us to be channels for grace. Here's the other thing that I'm loving about this energy is that not only is it widening the channel so that more grace pours in, it's also giving us and brings us clearer direction on where to channel that grace, where to bring our consciousness to, where to be very clear, very like the guidance comes in, the clarity comes in, the discernment comes in here. It's bringing both more grace, but also more, let's call it containment or discernment or direction. It's very clear. So it's not where traditional Kundalini could be very messy, opens up, and he's just all over the place. And you hear about these Kundalini awakenings and it's like, oh my God, I'm all over the place. Like my sexual energy is just a mess. And this is all this, it's just, I don't know what to do with this. And I'm not grounded. I'm not all of these things. To me, this new form of Kundalini, it comes with, and feel into what this feels like for yourself if you do end up working with this energy, comes with both masculine and feminine sacred powers, right? Which they come to support each other. It's no longer this out of balance misalignment of, okay, too much consciousness and you're just off in the void disassociating, or too much feminine and you're just wildly chaotic emoting all of the time with zero direction and zero capacity to hold that much. This energy comes with both balancing, harmonizing, holding each other, supporting each other. Right? It comes, if we go back to that first form we talked about, it's not that we have to wait for the snake to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. And in all of that, it's just wildly chaotic before the snake gets her wings. It's that this beautiful form, whether it be phoenix or dragon or another winged serpentine sort of creature, another winged creature rises, already rising with wings, already riding on consciousness. The wings, it's riding on consciousness, already connected. That's the symbolism of it. It's already connected into consciousness. It's already there. That is what we have a possibility of working with right now and in this moment, and it's here and it's now and it's not. We have to wait for it 10 years down the track. It's happening. It's happening. And it's, I don't know that I have other words for this. I think that this might be what serves. And I think that if you're called to work with this energy, you'll know. We've been holding little challenges here and there. We just ran a mystery school on this, just held an in-person retreat working with this for 4 days. There's a dragon session online retreat that we just released. Those details are below. I think it's right now like $100 off. So it makes it super affordable if this is something you're like, wow, I'm resonating with this in some ways, Sabrina, but where do I go to work with this? Where do I go to work with this? Here's the wild part. I'm going to be so crazy transparent with you on this, because that's just how we roll over here at ReWilding, is I don't know of a book. I don't know of where this is being done. I certainly do not think that I'm the only person working in this energy or facilitating circles in this energy. I certainly do not think that. But I don't know where else it is. There is no guidebook that I have found. There is I don't know. I have not found it. It's really and truly, and the programs that I facilitate, including this Dragon Sessions program, it really and truly is a way for you to be taught directly by the energy. Right? That to me is also part of these new sacred technologies. That to me is part of this new consciousness, is that it is direct line teaching between you and the sacred energy. It is directly waking up in you, and it is between you and it, but it's what are the spaces, what are the teachings, what are the practices to wake up this energy and to hold a space loose enough for you to uniquely journey it and you to be taught directly by it, but tight enough and guided enough so that it's activating the energies, and so that we're going into the right places, we're looking in the right directions, and we're doing the different things that can support more and more and more and more of this waking up in us, which really and truly is just your unique potential. It's your highest potential now that consciousness is where it's at for humanity, which, by the way, that's just a scientific fact, that consciousness is ever evolving. It's never not evolving. It's like the universe is ever growing, right? It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's the same thing with our consciousness. It doesn't stop. So why would we think that the form of Kundalini that was there centuries and centuries and centuries ago when we first started exploring it or started writing about it or started teaching from, why would we think it's still the same? Why would we think that that's still the same? How is that possible for it to stay the same? It's evolving as well. And we can work with the evolved state of it, right? The new form of it. We can work with it because it's what's on offer now. And to me, it's what supports us in the greatest way now. For me. But you feel for you. I would love to know how this lands for you. Again, if you're called to working with this, there's Dragon Sessions, at least at the start of this video when it first comes out. There's $100 off the program. It makes it's under $200 to do, I don't know how many hours and hours and hours and hours of journeying is inside of that program. But it's all completely dedicated to this particular energy. If it's something that sings to you, I'd love to share more. I'd love to share everything that I've got in that program with you. All right. Gosh, I hope this serves or lands in some way. Would love to hear if you're tapping into this energy, if you're tapping in or feeling or sensing it, or maybe you've just been seeing dragons all over, or maybe you've been fed up with feminine reclamation, or maybe you're sensing there's just more to your trajectory in life. I'd love to hear it. I'm always in the comments for the first couple of days after a video comes out, and the team is there always after that. All right. So much love to you. I will see you where I see you, when I see you, and how I see you. Mwah.